So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Late Night Shots, episode 16. And today we'll be talking about the NC State Wolfpack. The Wolfpack is led by Hayden Hidley and Trent Hidley. They have a couple other guys such as Tarik Wilson, Thomas and Daniel Bullard, and they have Deontay Wilson. Today we'll be talking about how far we think they can go at nationals and which guys we think are going to qualify, who do we think will place, and who do you think could possibly win. So start us off there.
All right, coming in at 125 pounds, we have ranked number 6 in the nation, Jacob Camacho. I think, obviously, a solid 125-pounder as we saw this season. I definitely think we could see him on the podium 100%, and he's going to be another guy that's going to lead the Wolfpack in the national tournament.
So a couple of things about Jacob Camacho that you should know is that he did beat Jack Mueller in the ACC finals. So that's a big win. Jack Mueller made the national finals. Lost essentially, I think, 4-5-0 in that match. I think Jacob Camacho's a guy. I think he's probably going to be sitting at that solid 4th rank behind guys like Spencer Lee, Pat Glory, and Vito Araujo. I think he could make a run to beat those guys. I think that's highly unlikely at this point. So I have him sitting pretty high up on the podium, just like in that 4 to 5 range. I think he's a pretty consistent guy, and he's proved that he's consistent. I don't think he falls any lower than that, but I also don't really think there's a chance to place any higher than that.
No, I mean, you could see him knock off a guy like Vito, maybe to claim that 3, but I think, very doubtful. If it's going to happen, it's going to be at the national tournament in the 3rd and 4th place match. I think other than that, he has solidified himself definitely as an All-American at 125. And again, this is going to be somebody that if you're going to see NC State break in that top 5 ranking, this is going to be somebody you've got to see in the top 4 on the podium.
Yeah, to an extent, but NC State is not one of those teams like Penn State, Iowa, Michigan that you could see bring all 10 to nationals. There's obviously a couple guys you see who are going to fall in their conference tournament who are not going to make it. Some guys will borderline make it and go 0-2 in nationals, which is basically the same thing as not qualifying really at this point. So I really think Jacob Camacho is a guy that has to All-American no matter what, and he has to score bonus points along the way. That's be a big thing.
I honestly think we could see NC State bring 9. I honestly see them bringing 9.
Maybe, I don't know, man.
I think everybody, but I think that 49-pounder is going to be a problem unless he shows up to wrestle this season. I think he might be, he could show up and have a great season at 49. 49 is one of those weight classes where those top guys that are kind of solidified that spot, and then everyone else is bumping. But yeah, that was Jacob Camacho. Again, you can probably see him as a captain this year. I mean,
no, I doubt it. We already know who the captains are, but we're gonna get to them soon. So at 133 pounds, we have Jared Trombley, ranked 25th in the country. Pretty solid guy, but again, I've said it many times. I'm going to say it again. 133 is a stacked weight class. The top 12 guys basically solidify themselves in the All-American race. He's not one of those guys. So I think
he's somebody. He's going to be somebody that's right on that outside edge of the All-American. He could be a blood round guy. He could be around the round before. I mean, if he shows up to wrestle, you may see him get like an upset win. Maybe see himself in a 7th and 8th place match, but like you said, that top 12 has themselves solidified for a while now.
I'm going to go a little bit against you on that, but I don't think there's a chance he makes it to a blood round or around 16. He's either around 24 or around 32 guy. But I do think being in the ACC, the competition is not as stiff as the 133-pound weight class as it is in the conference like the Big Ten. Did we use that lightning? It's not as stiff as it is in the Big Ten, and I think a guy like Jared Trombley is going to qualify pretty easily in one of those top 3 bids from the ACC. He's going to get a very low seed, probably around 28 to 30, most likely, in my opinion. And it's really all going to come down is who he wrestles, because I think seeding is going to be all over the place as it usually is at this weight class. It's really going to come down to who he wrestles if he can win that one match and get those advancement points. And if he can get a first-round major upset, it's definitely possible, but it's very unlikely. I mean, he's probably going to be facing like Roman Bravo Young or Sammy Alvarez.
Yeah, I mean, 133 is stiff. There's a lot of guys there, a lot of hard matches. That's gonna, I agree with you. Maybe you see him in the 20, 21, 22 if he gets a good seed. It all depends on how he wrestles. He could show up and pull an 18 seed. He could have a great season. This is another guy that I think 100% is going to have to qualify. If you see him not qualify, that's going to be hit for NC State.
Maybe, but even if he does qualify, the main thing is matches in the championship bracket are worth twice as much as consolation, right? I think it's twice as much. So if he can pull that sub-16 seed or win a first-round match, that's going to be huge for boosting points. Because every little point is going to matter. It's not like you're going to see teams like last year, you've seen Iowa blow it out of the park because you basically have Penn State, Ohio State, and other teams just battling each other, just knocking off their own guys. And Iowa's guys pretty much solidify themselves as the top. So it's pretty interesting to see. So, I think he makes
not
it.
Really much.
I think he wins one match at best. I don't think it's any bit further than that.
That's fair. But again, not really much to talk about. He's not one of those guys that's in the top 12 at this weight. Not really one of those guys you're going to see in the winner side of the bracket.
Seasons. Alvarez was, I think, 20th or something coming into the season, and he ended off at number 7.
Yeah, anything could happen. RBY could end up going down to rank number 18. It's –
Yeah, of course. So now we will get into one of the studs at the team at 141 pounds, ranked number 9 in the country. We have Tarik Wilson. Tarik Wilson is one of those guys who's been on the scene. He had a tough bracket in his last national tournament. Where Nick Suriano won at 133. He got the 11 seed. Tough draw for him first round, having Ethan Lezak. Tough technique matchup. 2 extremely tall guys, both top riders. Lezak ended up winning that at 6-4. He did an All-American that season. I think he fell in the blood round that year. But that was like the emerging 133 bracket. Probably the hardest it was up until next year is going to be, I think him at 141 has looked really good. He's had some tough matches. A little bit harder time getting adjusted to it. But I think this year he does get through, and I think he's basically solidified himself for me as that 6th placer.
I agree with that 100%. I mean, like I said, you got Tarik Wilson, Chad Red, Yanni, Nick Lee,
Max Murin,
and
Dom Demas from Oklahoma.
Dom Demas. Yeah, that's your top 6. I mean, he's 1 through 6, 100%. I don't see him falling lower than 6th. I see him. He could break top 4. Maybe.
I don't see him breaking top 4 just for the fact that you're going to have Max Murin, Dom Demas, and Chad Red. And those 3 guys, from what I've seen, they're just like that little bit ahead of Tarik Wilson.
He's young, right? Tarik Wilson's not a – he's young, right? Tarik Wilson.
Tarik Wilson's going to be a junior.
Yeah, so he's another year
after
the season.
Actually.
Oh, okay. Well,
he was a sophomore that tournament, Yeah. But I think he's a solid guy nonetheless. I think he's a locked All-American for them unless something happens. But, things happen.
Yeah.
And there are guys they're not afraid to throw in this bracket. He might get caught by one of them. So that's Tarik Wilson. I think he does take that 6th spot, possibly 5th. I think the only guy he can really knock off is Chad Red. I don't see him knocking off anybody else, in my opinion. I don't really see anybody else knocking him off, which is the strength of this weight class, So we'll go up to 149 pounds, and then we have ranked 35th in the country, AJ Leonin. Again, you can start us off with this, honestly. I don't see much in this guy.
I don't see much in this guy. He's what, a sophomore, maybe junior, I think.
He's
I think he's a sophomore. Freshman, not a very impressive freshman season last year for the Wolfpack. I could see him maybe qualifying. Maybe. That's pushing it. Pulls like.
The question with this is the 149 has a decently strong, I'm going to say, PHC. You have the guy from Virginia Tech, and you have Austin O'Connor from UNC, who's in the ACC, right?
Are they only getting two bids at the ACC?
I don't know how many bids they get. I'm pretty sure they're guaranteed. They're guaranteed 3.
All right, so I definitely think then I could see him taking that 3 spot in the ACC.
I'm going to say I doubt it at this point just because he's so young. But, if things are going their way, maybe he gets in, maybe he doesn't. He has a good training room, Tarik Wilson and the guy at 157, who we'll talk about after. So that's
Yeah,
a big thing for him. I think he could. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. And I'm going to have him losing in his conference tournament.
I mean, yeah, fair. Not really much to talk about for this guy.
Yeah, honestly.
So that'll bring us to the guy we just talked about. Someone who I'm sure this guy's rolling around with the room. Ranked number 1 in the nation at 157 pounds. Hayden Hidley.
So Hidley is going to be the talk of NC State. You know,
Yeah.
He's been the guy. He's been on the scene. He's a national finalist. Ended up placing 4th at the last national tournament, and now he's a senior. This is a shot. You know, last year I think he solidified himself as the number 2 guy in the country. This year he's number 1. However, I'm going to go against this a little bit. I actually have him placing 4th in the country, just for the sole fact this is Deacon's weight class. Nobody's going to deny that. The rankings are what they are at this point. But Deacon was the only undefeated guy at 157. He ran the gauntlet at CKLV, knocking off Ja'Cory Teamer, knocking off David Carr, and knocking off Hayden Hidley in the finals. Pretty much dominating every one of them, right? And then you see him against a guy like Kendall Coleman, who he beats 14-0 in their first match at the Northwestern versus Purdue duel. And then he ends up beating him 7-4 in nationals. So Kendall Coleman's a guy I think you should watch out for. He was a freshman, a true freshman, and, he's coming strong as a sophomore. I think he could be a bright spot in the Purdue lineup, with a very stronger lightweight core than you see in a team like Purdue very often. They're coming onto the scene. I have Ryan Deacon going first, Kendall Coleman from Purdue going second. I have David Carr from Iowa State going third, and then Hayden Hidley 4th. However, what I'm going to say is I don't think Hayden Hidley is a guy who has athleticism over raw power. He has raw power. I'm not sure if he can maintain the athleticism to keep up with these guys, Deacon's just –
And I feel like that would be the problem with Carr, where Carr would use that sheer raw athleticism and just get him on.
And a guy like Coleman is a raw athlete also. That's what you're seeing a lot this 157 weight class. Because, that's why guys like Jason Dahl dominated his weight class so much. And Tyler Berger was so far ahead of him, and Ryan Deacon too. But Deacon is the guy who's worked on his athleticism, but he's so strong. The fact that, this athleticism, when he hits that ball, you're not getting through his legs, right? And he can ride you on top so well, which a lot of these 157s don't really know how to do. I think it's more like of a Zane Rutherford approach you see him taking.
Yeah.
Which is the thing that's really beneficial to him, in my opinion. I think a guy like Ja'Cory Teamer has an upset bid against Hayden Hidley. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. I don't think Teamer's just at that point yet. But I think a guy like Kendall Coleman and a guy like David Carr are 2 guys that are very up there. I do think they place to get ahead of Hayden Hidley from NC State at 157. I do think they pick that. But I also do think there's a possibility that Hidley comes in for a huge senior season, takes second. I don't think there's a possibility that any of these guys knock off Ryan Deacon, though. I think after Deacon beat James Green at the senior nationals, I don't think there was any doubt in anybody's head after that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. After that match, James Green, I kind of looked at Deacon a little bit different, especially at this weight class going into college. I do think that if anybody is going to come close, I don't think it'll be Hilday or Hidley, whatever you say his last name. I think you can see – yeah, I was going to say, I think –
What I did see at CKLV is Ja'Cory Teamer had like a 6'2" lead on him, and then Deacon just started pounding. Ja'Cory Teamer is a guy, another raw athlete, but Ja'Cory Teamer is a guy who can throw very well too. So, that might get caught up with a lot of guys. So Ja'Cory Teamer, I think, is the biggest dark horse in this weight class. Hidley and Deacon are the 2 solidified guys in this weight class. And Kendall Coleman from Purdue and David Carr from Iowa State are the 2 biggest up-and-comers in the weight class who I think are going to sneak that second and third spot. And that's just going to be my take on this. But, Hidley is going to be the captain of the team. He's going to be keeping the morale high. So if Hidley's succeeding, I think the rest of the team will too.
I agree with that, definitely.
So, I don't think there's much. I think Hidley walks through the ACC. I don't think there's really anybody.
Oh, yeah. No one's going to give him a problem in the ACC.
I don't think there's anybody there. I think there's a Feinsold from Duke, right? No, that's a 170.
Yeah, 170.
I don't think there's anybody in the weight class at the ACC that can stop him. I really don't even think he gets challenged until the NCAA quarterfinals, which I'm going to say for any of these top 5 guys like Ryan Deacon, Kendall Coleman, David Carr, Hayden Hidley, and Ja'Cory Teamer from Arizona State. I don't think any of these guys really get challenged to a semifinal except for that 4 and 5 match, which is going to be an absolute bloodbath. So you really even could see Hidley losing in that 4th or 5th match. If his seed does fall the way I think it will, because I think all these guys are going to be at the CKLV, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about Coleman, though. So I think Coleman is at CKLV, too. I think all these teams are CKLV. So that's going to be a great tournament to watch at this weight class because you see the top 5 guys, in my opinion, is colliding, You're always going to see a newcomer at this weight class, so that's the thing. 157 is are those, a little bit bigger guys in high school cutting down a little bit. That's where you see them fall a lot of the time.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, I think we're good with the Hayden Hidley. We're going to bump up to 165, ranked number 8th in the nation.
Yep.
We're going to have Thomas Bullard. Again, I'm going to say it again. I've said it a lot of times. There's 5 guys in this weight class. There's Mekhi Lewis. There's Alex Marin. There's Mekhi Lewis from Virginia Tech, Alex Marinelli from Iowa, Evan Wick from Wisconsin, Shane Griffith from Stanford, and then you have Logan Massa from Michigan. Those 5 guys have solidified themselves as the top 5. I don't think there's a possibility that they can be taken out, in my opinion, right? I think that 6th spot, Bullard's showing me a lot of stuff,
I agree with that.
There's Kennedy Monday, too, at 165 from UNC. And he's in the ACC also. I do think Bullard will walk into the ACC finals untouched. Him versus Kennedy Monday,
Yeah, I agree with that.
Especially since oh, no, Mekhi Lewis is in the ACC, dude. No.
Yeah.
That's a big thing, And then Stanford is in the MAC, right? Or the EIWA.
MAC.
Yeah,
I think the MAC.
Yeah, I remember that. So I think Shane Griffith takes the MAC, Texas way, or pins his way through that. I don't even care. He's untouchable until the national tournament. Guys like Logan Massa, Evan Wick, Alex Marinelli are going to be an absolute bloodbath in nationals. Either one of those 3 could win it. Mekhi Lewis, I think he walks to the ACC. Right?
Yeah.
And I think a guy like Thomas Bullard and Kennedy Monday are going to be fighting for that final bid. Because I think it's mostly going to come between them 2 for that semifinal match. I do, however, think Kennedy Monday is going to get the best of him there. He takes 3rd in that conference. I do think, however, he's going to find himself at the All-American pretty handily. I don't think he's really going to get too much competition. I think he might have a bloodbath match in the semis, I think he falls in the consolation quarterfinals, gets pushed to that 7th, 8th match, where I do think he comes out on top. I do think he wrestles a guy like Caleb or Matt. I don't know who's really at 165, He probably wrestles a decently high-level dude there. But I think really the top 5 has solidified themselves. I don't think there's really any much to talk about at that weight, yeah. So, as we're talking about this, we'll bump to 174 again, where we have another brother duo. We're gonna have Thomas Bullard and Daniel Bullard, 165, 174. We're gonna have Daniel Bullard, who's ranked 9th in the nation.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that on that point.
You're back? Okay. Number 9 in the nation, we're gonna have Daniel Bullard. Bullard, I think, is a guy, 174. You see, it's really going to be a guy like either Cameron Amin or Miles Amin at 174. If it's Miles Amin or if it's Logan Massa, I think he has a tough time with that. A guy like that coming at Michael Kemmerer, pretty much going to be the top 2 of this weight class. I don't think there's many people that can really touch them. I don't think there's really anybody in this. You're going to see guys like Caleb Romero coming out from Ohio State. A guy like Daniel Bullard, I do think can take that top 4 spot. Do I think it's probably going to happen? Probably not, just in my opinion. But there's a lot of things I think you can see with Daniel Bullard. NC State is one of those things where you have 2 brother duos in this. You have Hayden Hidley and Trent Hidley, 157 and 184, ranked number 1, number 18 come to see, so pretty solid right there. No, number 1, number 5 come to season. My bad, I was tripping. And then you have at 165 and 174, ranked 8th and 9th. You have Thomas and Daniel Bullard, 2 more top-level guys that I think are more going to All-American. So I think this is like a mini murderer's row, even for NC State, they have Hayden Hidley, Thomas Bullard, Daniel Bullard, Trent Hidley, and even I think Nick Renan at 197 can even make some moves up here. So I think these are some big things that I think NC State can really string together some wins in that home stretch of their lineup. I think Deontay Wilson can make some big moves this year and be that anchor that they really need in this lineup when it comes to the dual meet season. I think when it comes to nationals, however, they're going to be a little bit iffy on that. I think a lot of things are going to happen there. Yeah. And that's just the way I see it. Sorry, my bad, guys. Derek just lagged out. We're trying to refix this. Yeah, we'll just talk a little bit more about Daniel Bullard, the rank number 9. I think in the ACC, there's really nobody really. It's basically a non-existent competition, really, except for you see guys like Miles Amin and Michael Kemmerer. I think Kemmerer really owns this weight class unless Miles Amin or Logan Moss have really bump into it and give him a struggle right there. And that's just what I'm going to say about that with Daniel Bullard at 174. I think he does take that third or fourth spot. I don't think really anybody's there to stop him at this point. And, yeah, we'll go up to 184, which we have ranked 5th in the country. We're going to have the brother of Hayden Hidley. We're going to have Trent Hidley. Trent showed a lot of good things last year, He was like that number 2, number 3 guy in the country behind Zahid Valencia. It was Zahid Valencia, Lou Dupre, then him. Him and Lou split matches from Binghamton. I think in the ACC, he's really going to be untouched. You good, Derek? Are you good? He's connecting to audio and did not connect to audio. That is not good. Okay, so Trent Hidley, another guy, I think he can come in and take that. 184 is going to be a weight class, which is a little bit different this season, You see a lot of new guys popping into the field, which you really didn't see before. You're going to have guys like Miles Amin. You're going to have guys like Max Dean from Cornell come back from the Olympic red shirt. And then you're going to have a freshman. You're going to have a sophomore now, Aaron Brooks, who's, in my opinion, the front runner last season for the national title. You're going to have a guy like Abe Assad and Cameron Caffey, 2 younger guys. Cameron Caffey caught fire at the Big Ten tournament last year, making a push to the finals. You're going to have a guy like Taylor Venz from Nebraska ahead of you, So I think Trent Hidley has his path set out for him. I think he's an extremely tough dude. I don't think he's a guy who can pour on the points like Aaron Brooks does or Cameron Caffey does, honestly, at this point. I do think that Trent has a good season, but I do think he falls around that 6 to 8 range. I don't really think he can pop up any higher with that with guys like, again, Aaron Brooks, Max Dean, Miles Amin, not Abe Assad, Cameron Caffey, and Taylor Venz, right? Those are going to be the top 5 guys in my opinion. I think Trent falls just a slice bit below that, but I think there's a possibility he could go all the way to 4th and maybe knock off Taylor Venz or Cameron Caffey. I do, however, think that's kind of unlikely at this point.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I feel like those guys have definitely solidified their spots. I don't see anybody coming near. I don't see anybody coming near that like them. I feel like they're like the outliers. They're like the leaders of the pack. I don't see
that,
anybody.
Derek.
Yeah, look, I'm back. Don't worry. Just some technical difficulties on the computer. We're all right. We're joining on the phone. We're good. We got I'm landscape mode, so you could see me correctly. Gary, turn your phone sideways, boss. All right.
23 minutes. It's going to be a lot shorter of an episode,
So that takes us to rank number 18 at 197 pounds. Is that Nick Renan?
Yep.
Nick Renan.
What I'm going to say about the 197 weight class, I think it's a mess, just the way it is right now. But I think a guy like Nick Renan, I do not see him making the All-American. I really don't think it's going to be close. I think we're going to see his weight class fall a lot more into place. But you really only have one newcomer at this field, and that's going to be Michael Beard from Penn State. And who's he filling in for? A weight class that had Shakur Rasheed in it and Kyle Cannell last year. I think Michael Beard's a guy. I think he was better than – I'm going to say this. I think he was better than Shakur Rasheed. But wait.
Is it Wait, isn't Starochi 97 or Starochi 74?
74.
Okay.
You got to get stuff in place. What I am going to say about this is I don't think Nick Renan does too good. I think his guy was ranked a little bit high for my liking, honestly.
Yeah.
I do think he falls – I don't think he falls much lower than 18. I think he falls around that 22, 23 range. I think that's really good for where he is. I don't see anybody in the ACC has a little bit of competitors, you know. They have Noah Adams, who's a front runner. I don't see Noah Adams placing also. But I think Noah Adams cruises into the ACC finals. Is NC State in the ACC even? They are, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then from is South Dakota State in the ACC? No.
I don't know.
I really don't know who else in the ACC, but it's really messed up, honestly, in my opinion. Just the way everything's set up. I think Noah Adams is the main contender of the ACC. I do think Nick Renan could take second, but I think 197 is just like all spread out all over the place. I think EIWA is a strong place for the ACC also. With guys like Pat Ruckey and Ben Darmstead. And then you have Jacob Warner and Michael Beard from and Chase Singletary from the Big Ten. So it's gonna be all over the place. I think Nick Renan's the guy who's gonna get caught up in that mess, and I think he's really gonna get thrown out in the round of 16. But I do think he wins matches, right? I think he may win that round 24 match. I really doubt it, though, in my opinion.
Fair.
Yeah, there's not really much to talk about a lot of these guys, except for Jacob Camacho, Tarik Wilson, the Hiveleys, and the Bullards.
Yeah, I mean, as we get down to these like this last guy here, the whole NC State lineup, they have some solid guys. They have, the brothers, they have Wilson, they have two sets of brothers on this team. They're all solid. They have a couple guys that could do solid. Camacho's a guy that you could definitely see, be in that top 8. I think same thing with Tarik Wilson.
100% though. So Heavyweight Nation, we came here to look at this guy, right? Extremely underrated in my opinion, but I don't think he's underranked. At number 20, heading the season, Deontay Wilson. As we know, heavyweight's getting better and better every year, right? Guys coming out of redshirt, we have Kirk Leah from Penn State. We have Luis Fernandez from Cornell. Were two guys I think make the All-American. I think Fernandez knocks off Brendan Furman for the starting spot. I think Kirk Leah knocks off Seth Nevels for the spot. And I think they both do it pretty handily, honestly, in my opinion. And then you have new guys. You really only have one guy leaving. That's going to be Demetrius Thomas from Pitt. A guy who's pretty tough. I think he places the 5 to 8 range last year. Sucks that we never got to see him on the podium. He lost in blood round the year before to Amar Desi. I think he guaranteed makes the podium last year. A couple of big things I see with Deontay Wilson there. He's undersized, but in a different way than like Anthony Cassar. Like he just looks smaller, even though he probably weighs about the same. But he's insanely aggressive, dude. A guy you can compare to Derek White. But I think you can really compare him to the strength level. But he's a lot more athletic. He's just one of those big, like small, jittery guys you see. I think he's a guy that's really hard to put points on unless you can ride him on top. So that's going to be the biggest thing I see with Deontay Wilson,
Yeah, I definitely see.
He qualifies for nationals pretty handily. Granted, I don't really see that much competition in the ACC, The Big Ten has like 8 guys in it. Are going to need all those 8 possible bids. I think the Big Ten might even get 2 wild card picks. And then you're going to have the EIWA, which is going to be pretty stacked, They're going to have Luis Fernandez from Cornell, Yaroslav Slavakuski from Harvard, and Jordan Wood from Lehigh. You're going to have a conference like that, the Pac-12, which is going to have going to be dominated, I think, by Colton Schultz of Arizona State. And then you're going to have AJ Nevels from Fresno State. You're going to have guys like Gannon Gremmel from Iowa State. Even guys like Zachary Knight and Ward from Hofstra. You have, like, interesting schools coming into this mix, honestly, right?
Yeah.
You honestly have schools from everywhere. You have Cal Baptist even up there in the top 32. John Spalding from Edinburgh and Matt Stencil are going to be dominating the MAC conference. The Big 12 is just interesting to see that a little bit more of the open conferences, I really don't even know who's in the Big 12.
He's a junior. He got
from Missouri is in the ACC, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I do think the ACC title will go to Zach Elam. I don't see anybody really in there, do I? You have Andrew Gunn from UNC. The Virginia Tech has John Borst. But I think Elam does take that title pretty handily. Come back from redshirt, a guy, he's smaller, you're not going to muscle. He's been practicing with Don Bradley the entire year. But he is a guy who's very athletic and very strong for his frame. I think him practicing with Don Bradley is going to get him right. I do think Elam's going to take that title pretty handily. I think Deontay Wilson probably takes third behind. I think he maybe knocks off Andrew Gunning of UNC to take that second place spot. I don't think it's that hard. No, I think John Borsk from Virginia Tech is going to get the second spot. And then Deontay Wilson probably falls there, which is, qualifies for nationals. You're chilling. I think he maybe wins a match, maybe guts it out. But I think he's going to get stuck with a bigger kid and probably goes on to a national set.
Yeah.
I think just the way this weight class is headed, you have to be big and fast, and you have to be good on top.
Yeah. Definitely.
So that's the main thing I'm going to see here, right? So, yeah, definitely NC State. So, yeah. My final pick is that I do think the guys who I think get on the podium are going to be Jacob Camacho at 125, who's ranked number 6. Tarik Wilson ranked number 9 at 141. Hayden Hidley ranked 1st at 157. Thomas Bullard ranked 8th at 165. Daniel Bullard ranked 9th at 174. Trent Hidley ranked 5th at 184. And, those are going to be your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 All-Americans, which, if they can get that, that's going to boost them very high in the rankings. I doubt a lot of people are going to get that. But on the other hand, I don't think a lot of these other guys are going to win matches, which is the main thing I say.
Yeah.
So I do think NC State falls around that 9 to 10 range. I'm going to say that. I do think if Deontay Wilson, Nick Renan, and just honestly those two guys can win 2 matches in the consolation tournament, maybe won the championship, that's going to boost them up to the 6 to 7 range. And they may be able to knock off Oklahoma State. I don't see them knocking off Ohio State. I see them falling behind Ohio State. It's not going to come between them and Oklahoma State for the 6 and 7 spot. I do think they get that if Deontay Wilson or Nick Renan can All-American, which is very unlikely, though, at this point.
Yeah. But, hey, crazier things have happened, right?
Yeah. So, now that we get to end this episode, today is June 2nd? Yeah. It's June. Podcast is going to be up June 3rd, right? So the main thing I'm going to tell you guys, get ready for next episode. If you got this far, we'll tell you we're going to have Evan Wick, Wisconsin's 165-pounder, on tomorrow. So for you guys that actually watch the end of the podcast, you guys sneak preview, you get to come out and see it first. This will be up. We will try to upload each of our podcasts at 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. So, yeah.
Yeah, guys. I'm just going to put this out there. We have 5 podcasts straight of just hammers coming up. We have 5 podcasts straight of special guests. We have really big things working for this podcast. We're almost at 700 subs. I mean, hopefully by the time this video gets posted, we'll be at 700 subs.
Yeah, hopefully we're at 698 right now,
I mean, I see big things coming up with all these guys that we're going to have on the show. So I definitely think, this is going to be a really good week for us, really good videos. So just, I know these videos are long sometimes, they're 2-3 hours plus, but hey, just muscle through it. And we're going to keep pushing out some good content for you guys. I know our setups might not be the greatest and, the quality of stuff might not be the greatest. Yeah, we're working on that kind of stuff.
Once we start getting money, if we start getting money coming in or sponsor something, we'll upgrade as much as I can. I'm trying to put some money together for this stuff. Another thing to tell you guys is, as we were supposed to have Taylor Vance from Nebraska coming on today. He had to cancel because he was out doing some. He was busy, right? We're gonna try to reschedule this for Sunday, I think.
Sunday the 7th, it is already rescheduled.
We'll try to keep you guys updated on the stuff as much as possible. I know this guy, a good amount of people were looking forward to. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just out with his family. He's out with his family. He's out in the mountains, doing some he's at a cabin or something. He's, just enjoying the summer. So, can't blame him for that. He doesn't have any service up there. So he was nice enough to, let us know instead of just blowing us off. He did let me know and was like, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it. Sorry, but I will come on Sunday when he gets back home. So, just stay tuned for that. That's what I'm saying. We got 5 videos in a row of big wrestlers coming on. Oh, your favorites is coming on too this week. I know you're excited about that.
I mean, yeah. So, that's pretty much it for today. We talked about NC State, a little bit about their lineup, who we think makes it to nationals, a couple guys don't, who we think is All-Americans. I think they're going to be pretty high up there in the list of All-Americans because they're good guys, are pretty good, I don't think anybody really takes the title, sadly, But yeah, that's how it is sometimes.
If it's going to be anybody, it's going to be Hayden Hindley.
Yeah, no, you're probably right on that, Yeah, so this has been episode 16 of Late Night, and peace.